What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. First off, I got a haircut, so y'all can stop complaining or bitching that my hair is too long. I finally snapped, and we got a good lineup as well. Anyway, we have matches coming up this weekend. I know I normally upload the Scrap Time podcast on Wednesdays. That will be going up tomorrow. We're recording on Thursday because nobody was available today, I guess. Wednesday video, we're going to do our predictions for this weekend. We got 9 matches, 3 each day. We're going to do a crucial part of the Major 1 cycle where teams will start to lock in their spots for winners bracket, and teams will mathematically eliminate themselves from winners bracket. So let's take a look at the matches. I'm going to give you some of my predictions for each day. Our predictions from last weekend, you know, we did a pretty good job, but the other side of the bracket, the lower side of the bracket with FaZe winning definitely screwed us a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to hit a regain right now and try and nail the next 2 weeks. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with Cloud9 versus LAG on Friday. Taking a look at the fan prediction, 60-40 is about what I expect. A lot of, or at least the favorite in this being Cloud9, totally understandable because the LAG folks are winless. You know, there is some emotion storylines coming into this one. For the guys in LAG, they used to be part of Subliners or New York Subliners, now Cloud9 New York. And obviously Sib is playing his former teammates still on Cloud9. So there's this like back and forth sort of emotional angle here of the LAG guys trying to get their first win, but also want to beat their former teammate in their former organization. The problem is that I watch LAG play, and I don't really think their gameplay is that efficient. I don't think the way they play is that efficient. And yes, they're still sometimes forcing these series to game 5, but they don't look of value to win enough respawns, I think, to like consistently factor into the top level of teams. And for Cloud9, I think they've looked good since that first week mess with the online stuff. They've lost twice to Carolina, but they've beaten Vancouver and beaten Minnesota. So I think they're solid. Don't know how good they are just yet. I think this one's a game 5er. There's just a lot of game 5s these days. And I got Cloud9 taking it. Another heartbreaking loss for LAG. But I won't be surprised if Cloud9 take this 3-1. I also won't be surprised if LAG finally get the first one on the board in a game 5 either. This one is just a product of, I think, in my mind, of how dumbed down of a game Black Ops 6 is. And LAG, even with how bad they're playing, can still give everybody a fight. This one, however, the next match is not going to be close. In fact, I'm actually going to use my double points boost on this one. A rematch from last weekend, Optic Texas versus Vegas Falcons. I think at the moment, Kix is still not back with the team, so this is still the same lineup from last week. And yeah, it's just a skill experience diff. I think these Vegas cats and the Vegas boys can shoot, but I don't think this is the major where I think they're going to get a big upset against an Optic, and I think this one will get done in 3 maps. Now, this matchup I am excited for, Toronto Ultra versus the Minnesota Rocker. Now, fan predictions had this one 80-20 Minnesota, but I don't think that this matchup is like an 80-20 situation. Like, I did some research before this video looking at the prediction markets, and like they have it where I have it, which is, this is probably akin more to like a 60-40 type split. I think Toronto is good. They only got 1 loss, and it was to this Minnesota Rocker team a few days ago in a game 5. I think, though, talking to some people, I really want to see a lot from Toronto the next couple of weeks. They've got this matchup, they got LAG, and if we scroll down, they got 1 more match against Optic Texas, the last match of the final week of online qualifiers. I think Toronto's good. Their S&D looks great, but I'm very curious about the respawn, the hardpoint map pool, especially as teams have kind of caught up to them in recent weeks. So I have my eye on this Toronto team. I think they're good, but part of me thinks there's a role where maybe this Toronto team might have come back to the pack. That being said, you know, this is a good Minnesota Rocker team. Everybody they battle is close. Every game they play goes to game 5, other than the loss to LA Thieves and the loss to Cloud9 kind of earlier on, or rather that last week of December qualifiers. I think Toronto probably take this one in the game 5 rematch is what I'm thinking. I won't be surprised if it swings the other way and Minnesota wins the rematch, but I think the Toronto guys are going to be a little bit motivated for this one. I think they'll take the Rocker out in a close one. All right, we got Vegas Falcons versus Vancouver Surge. We don't have a lot of mid-offs in the CDL right now, but this one's kind of a mid-off. I think Vancouver's probably heavily favored, and if we take a look at the fan predictions, yeah. I don't see how Vancouver loses this one. They desperately need some wins. I think Vegas will take a map. I think if there's any series of Vegas will take a map, looking at their remaining schedule, because after this, they do play LAG. Which they could take a map off LAG maybe, but I think they get one on Vancouver, maybe a controller and S&D, but I think Vancouver make light work of the hard points and get this to go. But I also want everybody, by the way, I don't think Vancouver's playing that good, and I will not be surprised if Vegas pull up Saturday afternoon and actually like win this series. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. I'm not gonna predict it, but I really am not gonna be surprised if it happens. Now, this is an interesting one. Miami Heretics versus Cloud9 New York. Now, I don't know if y'all saw earlier today, but Super finally got his visa done and stamped, so he's heading to the US ready to play. So I think this Miami team, I'm not saying they're a dead team, but the Super situation is kind of hanging over this team a little bit, I think, post this major. So I think there's an onus on a couple of players on this team to play a little bit better. Rancor and Real been good. Lucky and Metals not so much. And I think this is a very tricky match. And we talked a little bit about Cloud9 like a few minutes ago. They're not going to be an easy out. And Minnesota's, or rather Miami's 1-3, and they need to like win out this situation. I am going to take a Miami victory 3-2. I think this is a coin flip series. You know, looking at it on the books and some research, like they had it pretty close. I'm gonna go Miami. I don't think is favored in this one. I think Cloud9 is, but I'll go with the upset on Miami, but I won't be surprised if it swings either way in this one. And then we keep it going. Another fantastic match, the Carolina Royal Ravens versus the Boston Breach. Boston lost a close match last week versus Optic Texas in a game 5 where I think Boston really should have won that series. And Carolina had a great major showing. Hardpoint a little bit lacking down the stretch on Saturday and Sunday and kind of cost them versus eventual champions Atlanta FaZe. I think with Carolina's hardpoint struggles, Boston's really going to take them to the brink, but I think Carolina's too good of a search squad to not close this one out in a game 5. But I will say I will not be shocked if, and this again speaks to the parity that I have talked about in a couple of videos now. Like Boston can win this series. They should have beat Optic. Carolina's respawn has a few holes right now. Boston has some good teamwork. I don't think Boston's slaying is that good. So I think that's a bit of an issue. I think they're gonna come up short in this one, but I won't be surprised if they also win the game 5. But I gotta pick Carolina. It's hard for me to pick against them. Also 60, 70, 30. I kind of see what the fans are leaning towards there. All right, we keep it moving. Last day of the matches, Toronto versus LAG. 80-20 seems about right for me. LAG still looking for a win. Toronto's S&D is too good. I'm gonna go Toronto Ultra 3-1. I don't see the patch to win this one for LAG. I really don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a good feeling that LAG is gonna probably end up at 1 win this entire stage, which would be a disaster start for them and their new organization that picked them up. Now we get to 2 awesome matches on Sunday because I think that one will be a snooze. The first one, Optic Texas versus LA Thieves. I thought we would see this one last weekend. Thieves a little bit under practice and probably will be kind of definitely buttoned down by the time this match is played on Sunday. And for Optic, they finally got the loss that was coming for a minute. The way they've been playing the last 4 or 5 matches has been okay in my mind. And some of y'all might think I'm being critical, but it's how it is when you're an elite team like that. I don't think that they're playing the best version of their game right now. The dynamics of this matchup are interesting. I think Thieves and Optic is a pure like square up and respawn. And I think when I think about hardpoints and controls, they just evenly split here. It's just a question when it comes to searches who I trust more. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think I trust Optic more than I trust LA Thieves at the moment in S&D. So I'm going to go with that. Again, this is a coin flipper. And I think the fans in this split here, you kind of reflects how close I think. I really think this matchup is just that tight. And we'll see which team is sort of the better team on the given day. And I won't be surprised, by the way, if we see this run back a few weeks later at Madrid. All right, and then we get to Atlanta FaZe Minnesota Rocker. This is a rematch from last weekend. It was a game 5 heater, FaZe versus Minnesota Rocker, but FaZe's S&D was on point and they were able to close that one out. I think that if FaZe's hardpoint is as good as they played on Sunday, I don't know if this one goes to a game 5. It probably will, so me picking a 3-1 FaZe win is probably not the correct score in this one. It's probably a game 5er, but I think Minnesota take the control. FaZe's vault controls or controls in general haven't looked that good. But man, if FaZe the way they played the way at hardpoint, their search looked really good last weekend. As quality of a teamwork and team Minnesota is, I think with the slang, I think it's going to be a little bit tough for them to keep up in this one. So yeah, run through predictions again. Cloud9 game 5er over LAG. Won't be surprised if that swings the other way and LAG finally get 1. Vegas 3-0, Vegas getting 3-0 by Optic. I think that's an easy read. Toronto, Minnesota game 5 banger. rematch from last week. Toronto's going to want to win that one, but I won't be surprised if Minnesota factor in there. Vancouver 3-1 over Vegas. Is this a series where Vegas gets the win? Fans say 80-20 no. I probably agree with them, but again, won't be surprised if Vancouver, who have been underwhelming to be this season, really bottom out in this matchup. Miami, Cloud9. I got the Miami upset in this one, but I think a lot of people probably think Cloud9 going to win. They're pretty low on Miami, and I don't blame them because they're search. And then Carolina, Boston. I think this is potentially a close series, but I trust Carolina to execute more in a game 5 than I do Boston. Toronto versus LAG. I think Toronto just slaying diff there, and I think the subs on Toronto, Joe to Thieves and Kleenex have a good series. Optic, Thieves, just flip a coin. I think Optic, for me, I trust more in S&D right now than I do in Thieves. My big concern with Thieves right now is they've only played 2 of like the 5 S&D maps in the pool. So I've opted to get rid of one. We're going to have to see Thieves on the map. We haven't seen them in a while. Going to be a little bit tricky for me to go in that direction. And then FaZe, Minnesota. I think I'm banking on FaZe's hard points to be pretty good in this series, but I won't be surprised if this is also a game 5 heater. And then, yeah, I feel pretty good about these predictions. It's just in general with the league right now, it's a lot of coin flips, a lot of tight matchups, and people are going game 5. So I'm trying to lean towards predicting the better search squads in these other than the Cloud9 Miami situation, because I don't think Miami's a good S&D team. But yeah, should be a fun weekend of matches. Let me know what you guys think of our predictions here in the comments. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. And as always, guys, we'll see you on the next one.